Welcome to Forgotten Realms, where ancient whispers echo through time, and lost memories drift between dream and myth. Here, you will not simply fall asleep. You will wander sacred ruins buried by silence, and unravel stories that history chose to forget. Close your eyes, take a breath, and let the past dream through you. This is Forgotten Realms. Sleep well. In the twilight forests of Nemerith, where ancient oaks whisper secrets to the moon and silver streams carry dreams downstream to sleeping villagers, there once stood the Gate of Sleeper, luminous archway carved from starfall marble and dream-touched jade that served as the sacred threshold between the waking world and the realm of gentle slumber. For countless centuries, this mystical portal was guarded by Seraphine, the Whispering Serpent, a benevolent spirit who appeared as a magnificent snake, with scales that shimmered like captured starlight and eyes that held the warmth of 1,000 peaceful nights. She would coil around the gate's pillars, humming lullabies older than memory itself, ensuring that only those truly ready for rest could pass through to the gardens of eternal dreams beyond. When mortals approached her threshold, weary from their journeys through life's struggles, Seraphine would speak to them in whispers softer than falling snow, offering guidance, comfort, and the promise that on the other side of sleep lay healing for all wounds and peace for all sorrows. Her gentle wisdom became legend among the dream seekers who pilgrimaged to her gate, knowing that she alone held the keys to the deepest, most restorative slumber, the kind that mends broken hearts and restores weary souls. Chapter 1. The Whispering Woods. The silver moonlight dances softly through the ancient oak trees of the Whispering Woods. Each beam of light filters down like silk ribbons, weaving between branches that have stood for centuries, holding secrets and stories within their weathered bark. Here, in this enchanted place where magic still lingers in the cool night air, walks Lily. She moves with the quiet grace of someone who belongs to the twilight hours, her eyes reflecting the starlight above like two perfect mirrors of the evening sky. In her delicate hands, she holds a map unlike any other. This map, drawn with the finest silver ink upon the gossamer wing of an ancient moth, glimmers and shifts in the moonlight. The pathways marked upon it seem to move ever so gently, like whispered directions carried on the softest breeze. The forest breathes around her. The leaves rustle with the gentlest of sounds, like silk scarves brushing against one another in a gentle wind. These are not ordinary rustlings. These leaves carry voices, soft echoes of travelers who walked these paths long, long ago. There, whispered stories floating on the night air. Lirelei pauses, tilting her head to listen. The voices are kind, welcoming, speaking of wonder and peaceful journeys. They seem to say, "Rest here, be at peace, let the forest hold you safely." As she follows the mothwing map deeper into the woods, the moonbeams grow softer, more diffused. The air itself seems to shimmer with an otherworldly glow, as if tiny stars have been scattered through the atmosphere like the finest glitter. The path beneath her feet is carpeted with moss so soft it feels like walking on clouds. Each step she takes is silent, cushioned by nature's own velvet. The moss glows faintly with a pale green light, marking her way forward through the dreamy landscape. Ancient oaks stretch their mighty arms overhead, their gnarled branches intertwining to form a natural cathedral. The bark of these trees tells stories of centuries past, with patterns that look like sleeping faces and gentle smiles. Some say these trees dream, and in their dreams, they hold the memories of every soul who has ever found peace beneath their protective canopy. Lirelei traces her finger along the mothwing map, following a delicate silver line that leads to a symbol shaped like a teardrop. The chalice of eternal dreams, according to the ancient legends, can only be found by those pure of heart and gentle of spirit. It is said to contain the essence of the most peaceful dreams ever dreamed, and whoever finds it will bring everlasting rest to all troubled minds. As she ventures deeper into the heart of the whispering woods, the sounds of the forest begin to change. The distant hoot of an owl becomes a lullaby. The gentle creaking of branches becomes a rocking chair's rhythm. Even the wind through the leaves sounds like a mother's gentle humming. The air grows warmer here. Despite the night's coolness, it wraps around Lirelei like a soft blanket, scented with lavender and honeysuckle. The fragrance is so soothing that it makes her eyelids feel heavy, though she knows she must continue her quest. Following the map's guidance, she comes upon a section of the forest where the trees grow differently. Here the oaks have twisted their branches into impossible shapes, creating archways and spiral patterns that seem to defy nature itself. The silver moonlight catches in these formations, creating pools of liquid light that ripple without any wind to disturb them. It is here, in this magical grove, that Lirelei discovers the first clue to the chalice's location. Hanging from a branch that has grown to perfectly resemble a sleeping hand, fingers gently curved as if cradling something precious, is a single dewdrop. But this is no ordinary dewdrop. This crystalline sphere hangs suspended in the air, never falling, never evaporating. It catches the moonlight and holds it, swirling the silver glow within its perfect surface like captured starlight. The dewdrop pulses gently with its own inner light, breathing with the rhythm of peaceful sleep. Lirelei approaches the miraculous dewdrop with wonder. As she draws near, she can see images forming within its crystalline depths. Visions of the next step in her journey, shadowy glimpses of challenges ahead, and always, always, the promise of the peaceful rest that awaits at the end of her quest. The branch, shaped like a sleeping hand, seems to acknowledge her presence. Its wooden fingers, shifting ever so slightly to better present the eternal dewdrop. The tree itself hums with ancient wisdom, a sound so low and soothing it vibrates through the ground and up into Lirelei's very bones. She extends her own hand toward the dewdrop, not to take it, but to receive the knowledge it offers. The moment her fingertips come close to its surface, warmth spreads through her entire being. She understands now that this dewdrop contains the tears of joy, shed by every dreamer who has ever found true peace in their sleep. The forest around her seems to exhale in satisfaction. The whispering woods approve of her gentle approach, her respect for the magic she has encountered. The leaves rustle more softly now, and the voices they carry are filled with encouragement and blessing. As Lirelei continues deeper into the woods, following the new path revealed by the eternal dewdrop, the very nature of the forest begins to change around her. The sounds grow quieter, more hushed, as if the woods themselves are preparing for sleep. The rustling leaves become whispers, then sighs, then the barely audible breath of dreams. The nocturnal creatures of the forest, usually active and alert, begin to settle into peaceful rest. Owls cease their hooting and tuck their heads beneath soft wings. Mice curl up in cozy burrows lined with the finest moss. Even the insects seem to hum more quietly, their songs becoming gentle lullabies that drift through the air like musical mist. The path Lirelei follows grows narrower and more winding, but never difficult. It seems to know exactly where she needs to go, guiding her feet with the softest touches. Flower petals from unseen blossoms drift down like snow, carpeting her way with the most delicate fragrances. Time itself seems to slow in this deeper part of the Whispering Woods. Minutes stretch into hours, or perhaps hours compress into minutes. There is no urgency here, no need to hurry. The forest teaches patience, teaches the value of moving slowly and mindfully through this enchanted space. The trees here are older still, their trunks so wide that Lirelei could not wrap her arms around even the smallest of them. Their bark is smooth and warm to the touch, like living skin. Some of these ancient giants have grown together, their branches intertwining to create natural chambers and grottos where tired travelers might rest. In one such grotto, Lirelei discovers a family of deer sleeping peacefully on a bed of soft ferns. The deer do not wake at her approach, so deep is their slumber, so safe do they feel in this magical place. Their breathing is slow and even, their bodies completely relaxed. They dream of endless meadows and cool streams, and their dreams seem to float visible in the air above them like gentle clouds. The sight of these peacefully sleeping creatures fills Lirelei with such contentment that she almost lies down beside them to join their restful slumber. But the mothwing map in her hands glows a little brighter, reminding her of her quest. Of all the troubled dreamers who wait for the peace that only the chalice of eternal dreams can bring, she moves on though. Her steps are slower now, her movements more dreamlike. The forest's magic is working on her too, filling her with the deep calm that comes just before sleep. Her eyelids grow heavier with each step, but her spirit remains alert to the wonders around her. As the night deepens, the Whispering Woods reveal their most secret beauty. Flowers that bloom only in darkness begin to open their petals, releasing fragrances so exquisite they seem like solid things, floating through the air in visible streams of perfumed light. These night-blooming flowers sing as they open, their voices creating harmonies that blend with the forest's eternal lullaby. Fireflies begin to emerge, but these are no ordinary fireflies. Their light is softer, more sustained, like tiny floating lanterns. They dance through the air in patterns that seem almost choreographed, their gentle glow creating moving constellations among the trees. Following their light, Lirelei finds herself approaching a clearing unlike any she has ever seen. As she steps through the final curtain of hanging willow branches, she enters a space where time itself seems to stand still. The clearing is perfectly circular, carpeted with grass so soft and fine it might have been woven by fairy hands. In the center of this magical space runs a brook, its waters singing the most beautiful lullaby in a language older than memory. The brook's song speaks of ancient dreams, of peaceful nights, of the deep rest that comes to those who seek it with pure hearts. The water itself seems to glow from within, each ripple catching and holding starlight. Fish swim in its depths, but they are fish made of liquid moonlight, transparent and beautiful beyond description. They dart and play in the glowing water, their movements creating trails of silver that fade slowly, like the most beautiful memories. Approaches the brook and kneels beside its gentle banks. The singing water tells her of the path ahead, of the challenges and wonders that await her on her quest for the chalice of eternal dreams. But for now, it sings her a lullaby, inviting her to rest, to let the peace of this magical place wash over her like the softest waves. Chapter 2. The Ruins of Somnithriath. Brook's gentle lullaby continues to guide Lirelei through the deepest parts of the Whispering Woods. Its crystalline waters flow over smooth riverstones, each one polished by countless years of patient caressing. The sound grows softer as she follows its winding path, as if the brook itself is preparing her for something sacred ahead. As dawn approaches, but never quite arrives in this timeless place, the brook leads her to the edge of the forest. Here, where the ancient oaks give way to something even more ancient, Lirelei first glimpses the ruins of Somnathria through the morning mist. The sight takes her breath away. Rising from a carpet of silver moss and midnight flowers, the remnants of the moon elf kingdom stretch across a vast meadow like a dream half remembered upon waking. Crumbling spires reach toward the star-filled sky, their broken stones resembling fingers frozen in eternal prayer, forever reaching for something just beyond their grasp. The architecture is unlike anything in the waking world. Walls curve and flow like frozen water, their surfaces smooth as silk despite the centuries that have passed. Marble columns twist upward in spirals that seem to defy gravity, their tops lost in the perpetual twilight that hangs over this sacred place. Vines heavy with night-blooming flowers cascade down every surface, creating living tapestries of indigo and silver. These flowers, larger than any earthly bloom, open their petals with the softest whisper, releasing fragrances that carry the essence of dreams themselves. Some smell of childhood summers, others of winter nights by the fire, and still others of places that exist only in the deepest sleep. As Lirelei steps from the forest onto the ancient stones of Somnathria, she feels the weight of countless dreams, pressing gently against her consciousness. The very air shimmers with memory, and she can almost see the ghostly figures of moon elves moving through their eternal routines, forever preserved in the moment before they joined the endless dream. The brook continues its journey through the ruins, its waters now taking on the silver-blue glow of the surrounding stones. It winds between fallen columns and through archways that still stand despite the passage of time, leading her deeper into the heart of the ancient kingdom. Every step reveals new wonders. Fountains that once danced with liquid starlight now overflow, with the same night-blooming vines, their basins filled with flower petals that never decay. Statues of moon elf nobles stand in perfect preservation, their faces serene with the peace of eternal slumber, their stone eyes seeming to follow Lirelei with gentle curiosity. Gardens that once knew the touch of elven hands have grown wild but not chaotic. The plants here seem to arrange themselves in patterns pleasing to the dreaming eye, creating natural mandalas of leaf and bloom that shift and change as the light filters through them. The grass beneath her feet is soft as clouds, and each blade bends to cushion her steps. Following the brook's gentle guidance, Lirelei discovers a circular plaza at the heart of the ruins. Here, surrounded by the tallest spires and most elegant archways, lies the dreaming pool. This ancient basin, carved from a single piece of moonstone, sits perfectly preserved despite the centuries of abandonment. The pool is filled with water, so clear it seems like liquid air, yet when Lirelei approaches and looks into its depths, she sees not her own reflection, not the sky above, but something far more wondrous. The water reflects not the physical world, but the realm of dreams themselves. In the pool's shimmering surface, scenes play out like memories given form. She sees glimpses of dreams long forgotten by their dreamers, moments of joy and wonder that live on in this sacred place. A child's dream of flying transforms into a vision of moon elf children with butterfly wings, dancing through the air above gardens that bloom with every color imaginable dot, as she watches, transfixed, the pool's surface shimmers and shows her something even more precious. Deep in its crystalline depths, she glimpses the creation of the chalice of eternal dreams itself. Moon elf artisans work by the light of 1,000 candles, their delicate hands moving with practiced grace as they weave starlight into silver. The vision is so clear she can see every detail. The workshop where they labor is filled with the soft sound of hammers on precious metal, creating rhythms that match the beating of peaceful hearts. The artisans' faces glow with concentration and joy, their eyes reflecting the starlight they capture and bind into the chalice's form. She watches as they gather dewdrops from flowers that bloom only once every 100 years, mixing them with water from the first spring that ever sang a lullaby. They add threads of moonbeam, collected during the longest night of winter, and whispers of the kindest dreams ever dreamed by sleeping children. The process takes not hours, but years, each moon elf artisan adding their own gift to the chalice's creation. One weaves in the sound of rain on leaves, another the feeling of being held safe in loving arms. They craft not just a vessel, but a living embodiment of peace itself. As the vision fades, the pool's surface returns to its gentle reflection of dream scenes, but Lirelei now understands the true nature of what she seeks. The chalice of eternal dreams is not merely a cup to be found, but a culmination of all that is gentle and restful in the world. The ruins around the dreaming pool seem to respond to her new understanding. The crumbling walls whisper their history in voices soft as silk scarves brushing against stone. She hears the story of Somnathria's glory days, when moon elves walked these streets and their laughter rang like silver bells through the night air. The whispers tell of how the kingdom fell into its endless slumber when the chalice was first used by the moon elf queen, who sought to bring peace to a world torn by war. The magic was too powerful, too pure, and instead of spreading peace beyond the kingdom's borders, it enveloped Somnathria itself in eternal rest. But this was not a tragedy, the whispers assure her. The moon elves did not die or disappear. They became part of the eternal dream, their spirits joining the vast tapestry of peaceful sleep that the chalice created. They found a rest so perfect, so complete, that they chose to remain in that blessed state forever. Their bodies became one with the earth, nurturing the midnight flowers and silver moss that now cover the ruins. Their laughter became the music that plays eternally in the wind through the broken spires. Their dreams became the visions that dance in the dreaming pool, ensuring that their joy and peace would never be lost. As Lirelei explores deeper into the ruins, following pathways marked by flowers that glow with their own inner light, she discovers chambers filled with wonders beyond imagination. Libraries where books write themselves with dreams, their pages filled with stories that change based on the reader's needs. Workshops where tools still move on their own, crafting items of beauty from moonbeams and morning dew in one chamber. She finds walls covered with murals that move and shift like living things. These paintings tell the story of every peaceful dream ever dreamed in Somnathria, from the simplest wish for a good night's sleep to the most elaborate fantasies of flying through star-filled skies. The murals show her children sleeping safely, in beds made of flower petals, their dreams taking the form of gentle animals that play and dance around them. They depict lovers reunited in dreams, friends gathering in gardens that exist only in sleep, and families finding peace together in a place where time has no meaning. As she moves through these chambers, Lirelei begins to understand that she is not just exploring ruins, but walking through the physical manifestation of dreams themselves. Every stone, every carving, every vine-covered column is infused with the essence of peaceful sleep. The air in these deeper chambers is thick with the scent of dream flowers, those miraculous blooms that smell different to everyone who encounters them. To Lirelei, they smell of her childhood bedroom, of her mother's lullabies, of the soft wool blankets that kept her warm through winter nights. Following a corridor lined with statues of sleeping moon elves, their faces serene and content, Lirelei discovers the Chamber of Whispers. This room, carved from a single enormous geode, is filled with the soft sound of voices speaking in languages that predate memory itself. The walls of the chamber are covered with stone tablets, each one inscribed with text that seems to write itself as she watches. The tablets tell of the chalice's true purpose, not just to bring sleep, but to connect all dreamers in a web of shared peace. They speak of a time when the chalice will be needed again, when the world will be ready for the gift of eternal rest. The tablets reveal that the chalice is not lost but waiting, hidden in a place where only the purest heart can find it. They speak of trials that test not strength or cleverness, but gentleness and compassion. They promise that whoever finds the chalice will not claim it for themselves, but will become its guardian, sharing its gift with all who need it. As Lirelei reads these ancient words, she feels a deep sense of purpose settling into her bones. She understands now that her quest is not just about finding a magical object, but about becoming worthy of the responsibility it represents. Chapter 3. The Sunken Library. The great door of star-touched wood opens with the softest whisper, revealing a sight that defies all earthly understanding. Beyond the threshold lies not a chamber of stone and earth, but something far more wondrous. Lirelei steps through the doorway and finds herself entering an extraordinary sunken library, preserved beneath the ruins of Somnathria, in a perfect bubble of crystalline water. The water here is unlike any water in the waking world. It moves like liquid glass, clear as the purest mountain spring, but thick enough to support the impossible. Books float gently within this aqueous atmosphere, suspended at comfortable reading height, their leather bindings untouched by moisture, their pages dry and perfect despite being surrounded by the magical waters. As Lirelei moves forward, her body adapts instinctively to this underwater realm. She finds she can breathe the crystalline water as easily as air, each breath filling her lungs with liquid comfort that tastes of starlight and peaceful dreams. Her movements become fluid and graceful, as if she has always belonged in this submerged sanctuary of knowledge. The library stretches far beyond what the eye can see, its vastness contained somehow within the earth beneath the ruins. Shelves rise from floor to ceiling, carved from coral that grows in impossible colors, deep purples that shift to silver, blues that fade to gold, and greens that sparkle with their own inner light. These coral shelves twist and branch like living trees, creating alcoves and reading nooks throughout the vast space. Books float in gentle formations throughout the library, their pages turning by themselves as if read by invisible hands. Some move in slow hypnotic patterns, their covers opening and closing in rhythm with the gentle current that flows through the crystalline water. Others remain perfectly still, waiting for the right reader to discover their secrets. The sight is mesmerizing in the most peaceful way. Lirelei watches as ancient tomes drift past her like schools of literary fish, their spines glinting in the soft, omnipresent light that seems to emanate from the water itself. Some books are bound in midnight blue leather with silver clasps, others in covers that shimmer like scales, and still others in materials that look like woven moonbeams. As she moves deeper into the library, drawn by an invisible current that seems to know exactly where she needs to go. Lirelei becomes aware of a presence moving through the crystalline waters. The librarian of dreams approaches her, not as a solid being, but as shifting patterns of light and shadow that dance through the liquid atmosphere. The librarian's form is ever-changing, sometimes appearing as graceful tentacles of pure light, other times as geometric patterns that pulse with gentle rhythm. When it speaks, its voice comes not as sound but as whispers that form directly in Lirelei's mind, soft as silk scarves brushing against her thoughts. "Welcome, seeker of peaceful dreams," the librarian whispers, its light form undulating in greeting. "Long have we waited for one with a heart pure enough to find this place. The knowledge you seek rests here, in the chronicle of slumber, preserved for one such as you." The librarian's presence is deeply comforting, like being wrapped in the softest blanket while a gentle voice reads bedtime stories. As it moves through the water, its light illuminates books that float nearby, causing their covers to glow with responsive warmth. Following the librarian's graceful lead, Lirelei swims through the library's main hall, marveling at the wonders that surround her. Fish made of pure starlight dart between the floating books, their bodies leaving trails of silver light that fade slowly like the memory of pleasant dreams. These stellar fish are translucent and beautiful, their forms shifting between silver and gold as they play among the literary treasures. The fish seem curious about Lirelei, swimming close to examine her with eyes like tiny stars. They circle around her in gentle spirals, their movements creating currents that help guide her through the water. One particularly bold starlight fish nuzzles against her hand, its touch warm and tingly, like the feeling of starlight on skin. During a clear summer night, as they move deeper into the library, the librarian points with tendrils of light toward a section where the coral shelves grow in particularly elaborate formations. Here, the shelves branch and curve to create natural reading chambers, each one perfectly sized for quiet contemplation. Scrolls rest in coral holders that have grown to fit them exactly, as if the library itself has adapted to accommodate its precious contents. These scrolls, the librarian explains in its whispered thoughts, contain the dreams of mermaids and sea sprites, creatures of the deep ocean who have their own connection to the realm of sleep. The scrolls are made from materials that don't exist in the surface world. Kelp that grows only in the deepest trenches, ink made from the dreams of sleeping whales, and bindings woven from moonlight reflected on water. Lirelei pauses to examine one of these scrolls, and as her fingers brush its surface, she sees visions of underwater gardens where sea creatures sleep among coral beds, their dreams rising like bubbles to the surface where they burst into shooting stars. The beauty of these visions is so overwhelming that she feels herself growing drowsy just from watching them. The librarian's light form pulses with gentle approval. "Yes, child of the surface world, here all knowledge serves the cause of peaceful sleep. Every book, every scroll, every written word exists to guide seekers like yourself toward the deep rest that heals all wounds and soothes all fears." They continue through the library until they reach its heart, a circular chamber where the most precious books float in a perfect spiral formation. At the center of this spiral, suspended in crystalline water that glows with its own inner light, is the Chronicle of Slumber. This ancient tome is bound in covers that look like compressed starlight, its pages made from a material so fine it might have been woven from dreams themselves. As Lirelei approaches, the chronicle opens automatically, its pages turning to reveal the exact information she seeks. The writing within is in silver ink that flows and shifts like liquid mercury, the words rearranging themselves to ensure they can be understood by any pure-hearted reader. As Lirelei reads, she learns the chalice's true history, facts that no surface dweller has known for centuries. The chalice of eternal dreams, she discovers, was never meant to be a drinking vessel in the traditional sense. Instead, it was created as a focus for the collective dreams of the Moon Elf people, a sacred object that could gather the peaceful thoughts and restful desires of an entire civilization and amplify them beyond all imagination. The chronicle shows her visions of how the chalice was used in its glory days. Moon Elf communities would gather around it during their evening rituals, each person contributing their most peaceful thoughts and dreams. The chalice would collect these offerings of tranquility and transform them into a kind of spiritual atmosphere that enveloped the entire kingdom in perfect rest. As she reads, dream journals float toward her through the crystalline water, their covers opening to reveal pages filled with silver ink that glows when touched. Each journal chronicles the peaceful sleep of those who used the chalice properly, their dream accounts written in handwriting that seems to pulse with contentment. One journal tells of a moon elf child who dreamed of flying through clouds made of cotton candy, her sleep so perfect that she woke each morning with the taste of sweetness still on her lips. Another chronicles the dreams of an elderly elf who found himself every night in a garden where his long-dead wife waited for him, their dream meetings so real that he faced each day with joy rather than sorrow. The journals float around like a literary constellation, each one glowing softly as she touches its pages. The starlight fish swim between them, their luminous bodies adding to the gentle illumination that makes the silver ink shimmer and dance. The chronicle reveals that the chalice's power grew over time, fed by the pure intentions of those who used it. Eventually, it became so powerful that it could grant eternal, peaceful sleep to any who approached it with a truly restful heart. This was not the sleep of death, but the sleep of perfect dreams, where consciousness continued in a state of bliss that surpassed any waking experience. As Lirelei continues reading, she learns of the chalice's final use by the Moon Elf Queen. Faced with a world torn by war and suffering, the Queen attempted to use the chalice to spread peace beyond the borders of Somnathria. The magic was too pure, too powerful, and instead of spreading outward, it created a bubble of eternal rest that encompassed the entire kingdom. But the chronicle makes clear that this was not a tragedy. The moon elves who entered this eternal sleep found a peace so perfect that they chose to remain in that blessed state. Their bodies became one with the earth, but their spirits continued to dream the most beautiful dreams imaginable. Dreams that still influence the world above. The librarian's light form dances around Lirelei as she reads, its presence ensuring that she understands not just the words, but their deeper meaning. The chalice, she realizes, is not just an object to be found, but a responsibility to be accepted. Whoever finds it must be prepared to become its guardian, to use its power not for personal gain, but for the benefit of all who suffer from restless nights and troubled sleep. Chapter 4. The Glade of Sleeping Stones. The gentle current of the sunken library's crystalline waters carries Lirelei upward through passages she doesn't remember seeing before. The water grows lighter as she rises, its crystalline clarity gradually giving way to the softer light of early dawn. The books and starlight fish fade behind her like the memory of a beautiful dream. But the knowledge she gained remains clear in her heart. She surfaces not in the underground chamber where she first entered the library, but in a place entirely New, the water deposits her gently on a shore of the finest silver sand, where each grain catches and holds the first light of morning. As the magical waters recede, leaving her dry and refreshed as if she had just woken from the most peaceful sleep, Lirelei finds herself at the edge of a circular glade unlike any place she has ever seen. The glade of sleeping stones stretches before her, perfectly round and surrounded by ancient standing stones that rise from the earth like silent sentinels. Each stone is taller than 3 men, standing one upon another, their surfaces worn smooth by countless years of wind and rain, yet carved with such intricate detail that every line seems to have been etched just moments before. The grass beneath her feet is the softest she has ever felt, each blade cushioning her steps like the finest carpet. It grows in patterns that seem almost too perfect to be natural, spiraling outward from the center of the glade in designs that please the eye and calm the mind. Tiny flowers are scattered throughout the grass, their petals the color of twilight, opening and closing in rhythm with some unheard heartbeat as Lirelei steps into the glade. She feels immediately that this is a place of profound peace. The air itself seems to hum with tranquility, and every breath she takes fills her lungs with the essence of perfect rest. The morning light filters down through leaves that rustle with the gentlest whisper, creating patterns of gold and green that dance across the ancient stones. She approaches the first standing stone, drawn by an inexplicable pull. Carved into its surface is the figure of a sleeping child, curled up with one hand beneath their cheek, their face serene with the peace of innocent dreams. As Lirelei draws near, she hears the softest sound, the gentle breathing of the carved sleeper, as if the stone figure were truly alive and lost in the most wonderful dream. The child's dreams begin to manifest around the stone, taking the form of luminous butterflies that flutter through the air with wings of pure light. These dream butterflies are translucent and beautiful, their colors shifting from silver to gold to the deepest blue of midnight. They carry with them the essence of childhood dreams, the joy of endless summer days, the wonder of discovering magic in ordinary things, the comfort of being loved unconditionally. One of the butterflies lands gently on Lirelei's hand, and for a moment she experiences the child's dream directly. She sees herself running through fields of flowers that sing when touched, playing with friends who are made of starlight and laughter, flying through clouds that taste like spun sugar. The joy is so pure and complete that tears of happiness gather in her eyes. As the butterfly lifts away to rejoin its companions, Lirelei moves to the next stone. This one depicts an elderly woman, her hands folded peacefully over her chest, her weathered face soft with contentment. From this stone emerge different dream butterflies, their wings carrying the deep satisfaction of a life well lived. These dreams are of family gatherings where everyone is young and healthy again, of gardens tended with loving hands, of quiet moments filled with perfect understanding. Each stone she visits reveals a new sleeper and new dreams. A young man dreams of adventures in distant lands, his dream butterflies carrying the scent of ocean spray and exotic spices. A mother dreams of her children, forever safe and happy, her butterflies glowing with the warm gold of protective love. An artist dreams of creating beauty that will outlast time itself, his butterflies shimmering with colors that don't exist in the waking world. The glade fills with these luminous creatures as Lirelei moves from stone to stone, their gentle flutter creating a visual symphony of peace and contentment. They don't interfere with each other, but dance together in patterns that seem choreographed by the very essence of harmony itself as she walks among the stones. Lirelei begins to understand that this place serves as a gateway between the waking world and the realm of dreams. Each stone acts as an anchor point, holding the dreams of its carved sleeper in the physical world while allowing their spirit to roam freely through the landscape of sleep. The stones themselves seem to pulse with ancient power, their surfaces warm to the touch despite the cool morning air. The carvings are so lifelike that Lirelei half expects the sleepers to stir and wake, but they remain locked in their peaceful repose. Guardians of the threshold between worlds. At the center of the glade stands the largest stone of all, its surface, carved with intricate detail that takes her breath away. Here is depicted not a sleeping figure, but a chalice of extraordinary beauty. The carving shows every curve and line of the vessel, from its graceful stem to its perfectly proportioned bowl. Vines and flowers wind around its base, and tiny figures dance around its rim, their faces filled with joy and peace. But as Lirelei examines the carving more closely, she realizes that something is missing. The chalice's base, where it would rest upon a surface, is incomplete. The lines fade away as if the carver had been interrupted in their work, leaving the bottom of the vessel unfinished and somehow ephemeral. She reaches out to touch the incomplete section, wondering if she can somehow discern what should be there. The moment her fingers brush the stone, the entire glade fills with a sound like gentle breathing, as if all the sleeping figures carved into the stones have synchronized their rest. From behind the central stone steps a figure that takes Lirelei's breath away. The guardian of thresholds is a gentle giant made of intertwined roots and moss, standing twice as tall as any human but moving with the fluid grace of growing things. His body is a living sculpture of bark and vine, with tiny flowers blooming along his arms and shoulders. His face, kind and ancient, seems to be carved from the heartwood of some impossibly old tree. When he speaks, his voice is like wind through leaves, soft and rustling, filled with the wisdom of countless seasons. Welcome, seeker of dreams, to the glade of sleeping stones. Long have we waited for one pure of heart to stand before the chalice's image and ask the right questions. Moss grows like a soft carpet across the guardian's shoulders, and small birds have made their nests in the crooks of his branching arms. They sleep peacefully, adding their own gentle breathing to the symphony of rest that fills the glade. Fireflies with wings like flower petals dance around his head, their soft glow illuminating his features with the gentlest light. You wonder about the chalice's base. The guardian continues, his voice creating harmonies with itself like a forest full of whispering trees. It remains uncarved because its foundation changes with each who would claim it. The chalice's power comes not from drinking, child of the waking world, but from the dreams it collects. As he speaks, the dream butterflies begin to spiral around him, their luminous wings creating patterns in the air that illustrate his words. Lirelei sees visions of the chalice in its original setting, surrounded by moon elves who sleep peacefully nearby. Their dreams rise like visible mist, flowing into the chalice and transforming into pure light. Each person who sleeps near the chalice adds their peaceful dreams to its magic, the guardian explains, his root fingers gesturing toward the butterflies that fill the air around them. The vessel grows more powerful not by consuming, but by receiving the gifts of restful minds. It becomes a repository of peace, a wellspring of tranquility that can soothe even the most troubled spirit. The guardian moves with the slow, deliberate grace of growing things, each step causing tiny flowers to bloom where his feet touch the earth. As he walks among the stones, touching each carved sleeper with gentle reverence, the glade itself seems to respond to his presence. The grass grows a little greener, the flowers bloom a little brighter, and the dream butterflies dance with increased joy. The stones you see here, he says, his voice carrying the deep contentment of ancient wisdom, were once seekers like yourself. They found such perfect peace in this place that they chose to remain, becoming eternal guardians of the threshold. Between sleeping and waking, their dreams continue to nourish all who pass through this sacred space. Lirelei looks at the carved figures with new understanding. These are not artistic representations, but actual people who found such profound rest that they became one with. The stones themselves, their sacrifice, if it can be called that, ensures that this gateway between worlds remains open for future seekers. The guardian approaches the central stone, his moss-covered hand tracing the outline of the carved chalice. The vessel you seek waits in the tower of gentle echoes, beyond the mirror lake where all hearts are reflected truly. But know this, child of dreams, the chalice will only reveal itself to one who seeks not to possess, but to serve. He turns toward the eastern edge of the glade, where the standing stones part to reveal a path that winds through a forest of silver birch trees. Chapter 5. The Tower of Midnight Winds. Lirelei stood at the base of the hill, her breath catching as she gazed up at the Tower of Midnight Winds. It loomed through a veil of perpetual mist, its silhouette sharp yet ethereal, as if carved from a dream. The stones of its walls shimmered, shifting from pale silver to deep indigo with the moon's phases, now waxing gibbous in the twilight sky. Legends spoke of the moon elves, the dream architects, who once dwelt here, weaving the sleeping. Visions of their people. The tower was their sanctuary, a place where reality blurred into the realm of dreams. Lirelei's mission was clear: find the chalice of eternal rest. The artifact said to hold the power to save or doom her own people. The path to the tower was a winding trail of cobblestones, each etched with runes that glowed faintly under her boots. The air grew cooler as she climbed, the mist curling around her like a living thing, whispering secrets she couldn't quite grasp. Her leather armor creaked softly, and the weight of her quiver and bow felt reassuring against her back. She had faced beasts and bandits on her journey, but this place felt different, alive, aware, and heavy with purpose. At the tower's base, a great arched door stood, carved with intricate patterns of stars and crescent moons. Lirelei traced her fingers over the carvings, feeling a faint hum beneath her touch. She whispered the passphrase she'd found in the ancient texts: "By moonlight's grace, we weave the night." The door shuddered, then swung inward with a groan, revealing a spiral staircase that ascended into darkness. Each step resonated with a musical note, soft and clear, as if the tower itself was singing. The notes wove together into a gentle melody, and Lirelei felt time slow, her heartbeat syncing with the rhythm. The air shimmered with faint motes of light, like fireflies caught in a breeze. She climbed, the melody growing richer, more complex, until it felt like a lullaby meant to cradle the soul. Her legs ached, but the music urged her onward, promising answers at the tower's heart. The staircase opened into a vast chamber, its walls lined with alcoves, each a shallow recess draped in gossamer curtains that glowed faintly. These were the sleeping alcoves of the dream architects, where they rested while their minds wandered the dreamscape, crafting visions for their people. Lirelei approached one, pulling back the curtain. Inside lay a stone bed etched with runes that pulsed softly. A faint warmth lingered, as if someone had only just risen. She imagined the moon elves lying here, their consciousness weaving tapestries of hope and peace for a kingdom now lost to time. At the chamber's center stood a great crystal, suspended in mid-air, its facets catching the moonlight streaming through a high window. It pulsed with a rhythm like the staircase's melody, and Lirelei felt a pull, as if it were calling her deeper into the tower's secrets. She moved past it, her footsteps muffled by the thick carpet of moss that had crept over the floor. The air smelled of starlight and ancient stone, a scent that stirred memories she didn't know she had. A narrow corridor led to another chamber, this one smaller but no less wondrous. The workshop of visions. Shelves lined the walls, holding tools crafted from crystallized moonbeams, chisels that glowed like liquid silver, brushes tipped with starlight, and needles fine as spider silk. Looms stood in rows, their frames woven with threads that shimmered like the night sky. Lirelei ran her fingers over one loom, feeling the hum of latent magic. These were the tools of the dream architects, used to spin dreams from raw starlight and the delicate silk of moon spiders. She could almost see them at work, their hands moving with precision, crafting visions of serenity for a people plagued by unrest. On a pedestal at the room's center lay a leather-bound book, its cover embossed with a crescent moon. The architect's journal. Lirelei opened it, her fingers trembling as she turned the brittle pages. The script was elegant, written in a flowing hand that seemed to dance across the parchment. The journal chronicled the creation of the Chalice of Eternal Rest, the dream architect's greatest work. They had crafted it to gather the peaceful dreams of their people, concentrating them into a single vessel to bring rest to a kingdom ravaged by war and despair. The chalice was forged from moonstone and fire, its surface etched with runes that bound it to the dreamscape itself. But the journal held a warning, written in a shakier hand, as if penned in haste. The chalice's power had grown too great. Instead of granting restful sleep, it had begun to pull dreams from the waking world, trapping the kingdom in an eternal slumber. The moon elves had tried to destroy it, but the chalice resisted, its magic too potent. In desperation, they hid it, sealing it away where its power could not spread. The final entry was incomplete. The ink smudged as if the writer had been interrupted. The chalice waits behind the veil of water. In a cave where dreams still sing, Lirelei's heart pounded. The chalice was the key to saving her people, but its power was a double-edged blade. She closed the journal, tucking it into her satchel. The tower seemed to hum louder now, as if aware of her discovery. She moved to a window at the far end of the chamber, its frame carved with vines that seemed to writhe in the moonlight. Peering through, she saw not the misty hill outside, but a cave hidden behind a cascading waterfall, its waters shimmering with an unnatural glow. Inside, on a pedestal of black stone, stood the chalice, its surface pulsing with a soft, hypnotic light. Dreams swirled around it, faint wisps of color and memory, drawn from a sleeping world. Lirelei stepped back, her mind racing. The chalice was real, and it was close, but the tower's warning echoed in her thoughts. Its power could save or destroy. She turned, retracing her steps through the workshop of visions, past the glowing crystal and down the singing staircase. The melody followed her, a reminder of the tower's magic, but now it felt like a warning too. The mist parted as she emerged from the tower, the moon now full overhead, casting the hill in a silver glow. The path to the waterfall lay ahead, and with it, the chalice. Her journey was far from over. The tower's melody lingered in Lirelay's ears as she descended the hill, the mist swirling around her like a cloak. The journal weighed heavily in her satchel, its words both a guide and a burden. The Moon Elves had been masters of their craft, but even they had faltered, undone by the very creation meant to save them. Lirelay's people faced a similar fate. Nights, haunted by visions of a coming darkness. The chalice could end their torment, but only if she could wield its power without repeating the Moon Elves' mistake. The forest at the hill's base was dense, its trees twisted into shapes that seemed to shift when she wasn't looking. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and pine, and the faint roar of a waterfall reached her ears. She followed the sound, her bow at the ready, senses sharp for any sign of danger. The journal had mentioned guardian screeches born of the chalice's overflowing magic, bound to protect it. Lirelay had faced many threats on her journey, but these felt different. Tied to the dreamscape itself, the waterfall came into view, its waters glittering like liquid starlight. It cascaded over a cliff, hiding the cave entrance behind a shimmering veil. Lirelay paused, studying the scene. The vision in the tower had shown the chalice within, but it hadn't revealed what guarded it. She stepped closer, the mist from the waterfall cooling her skin. The roar was deafening now, drowning out the forest's sounds. She reached out, her hand passing through the water, and felt a faint tingle like the brush of a dream. Behind the waterfall, the cave was dark, its walls slick with moisture. Bioluminescent moss cast a faint glow, illuminating a path that spiraled downward. Lirelay lit a small torch, its flame steady despite the damp air. The cave felt alive, its walls pulsing, faintly, as if in rhythm with the chalice's power. She moved cautiously, her boots silent on the stone floor. Shadows danced at the edge of her vision, but when she turned, there was nothing. The path opened into a vast cavern, its ceiling lost in darkness. At its center stood the pedestal from the vision, carved from black stone that seemed to drink. The light, the chalice of eternal rest, rested atop it, its moonstone surface glowing softly, etched with runes that shimmered like stars. Wisps of color swirled around its dreams, Lirelay realized, drawn from the sleeping world. They were beautiful, but there was something unsettling about them, as if they were being pulled against their will. She stepped closer, her hand hovering over the chalice. The air grew heavy, the temperature dropping sharply. A low hum filled the cavern, not unlike the tower's melody, but deeper, more ominous. The journal's warning flashed in her mind. The chalice's power was too great. She hesitated, her fingers inches from its surface. Could she control it, or would she doom her people to the same fate as the Moon Elves? A sound broke her focus, a low growl from the shadows. Lirelay spun, knocking an arrow in one fluid motion. Eyes glowed in the darkness, 6 pairs, each a different shade of moonlight. The guardians, they emerged, their forms shifting like smoke. Part beast, part dream. Wolves with scales that shimmered like the tower's stones, their claws leaving trails of starlight on the cave floor. Lirelay's heart raced, but she stood her ground, arrow trained on the nearest creature. Chapter 6. The cavern behind the Valorelay trekked through the twilight forest. The architect's journal tucked securely in her satchel, its final words etched in her mind. The chalice waits behind the veil of water, in a cave where dreams still sing. The tower of midnight winds loomed behind her, its melody fading as she followed the distant roar of water. The air grew damp, heavy with the scent of moss and mist, and the ground beneath her boots softened into a carpet of ferns. Her bow rested lightly on her shoulder, her senses sharp for any sign of the guardians the journal had warned of. The chalice of eternal rest was close, and with it, the hope of saving her people from their sleepless torment. The sound of cascading water grew louder, guiding her to a clearing where the Whispering Falls stood. Sheets of water poured over a jagged cliff, shimmering with flecks of starlight that danced like fireflies. The falls sang, a soft lullaby woven into the rush of water, its notes ancient and soothing, echoing the tower's melody but softer, more intimate. Lirelei felt her eyelids grow heavy, the song tugging at her mind, urging her to rest. She shook her head, focusing on the task. The cave lay behind the falls, hidden by the luminous curtain. She approached the waterfall, its mist cool against her skin. The water parted slightly as she reached out, as if inviting her through. She stepped forward, the lullaby swelling round her, and passed through the veil. The world shifted, the roar of the falls muffled, replaced by a gentle hum. She stood in a cavern, its walls glittering with crystal formations that pulsed like a sleeping heart. The air was warm, thick with the scent of earth and something sweeter, like the memory of a dream. Pools of still water dotted the floor, their surfaces reflecting not the cavern's ceiling, but swirling images fields of starlit grass. Quiet villages, faces serene in sleep. These were the dreams of those who had known peace, preserved here in liquid mirrors. Lirelei moved deeper, her torch casting flickering shadows across the crystals. The cavern seemed to breathe, its pulse syncing with her own heartbeat. The path sloped downward, the crystal formations growing larger, their light brighter. At the cavern's heart stood a pedestal, carved from a massive geode, its inner facets sparkling with amethyst and quartz. On it rested the chalice of eternal rest, smaller than she'd imagined, delicate as a flower petal. Its moonstone surface glowed with a soft, silvery light, etched with runes that shimmered like stars. The chalice wasn't filled with liquid, but with a luminous mist, swirling in patterns that shifted like clouds in a dream. These were dreams, Lirelei realized. Centuries of peaceful sleep gathered within its delicate frame. She stepped closer, mesmerized by the chalice's glow. The mist inside pulsed, and for a moment, she saw her own dreams, her childhood home. The laughter of her sister, a night sky unmarred by fear. Her hand hovered over the chalice, the urge to touch it overwhelming, but a voice, soft as the falls, lullaby, broke the silence. "It is not to be drunk from," the voice said. Lirelei spun, her hand snapping to her bow. In the shadows stood a figure, tall and ethereal, with silver hair that cascaded like moonlight. Her eyes glowed faintly, the same shade as the chalice's mist. She wore robes woven from the same spider silk Lirelei had seen in the tower's looms, shimmering with starlight. This was no guardian beast but a moon elf, her presence both ancient and vital. "Who are you?" Lirelei asked, lowering her bow, but keeping an arrow nocked. "I am Serethini, keeper of the chalice," the elf said, stepping into the light. Her face was ageless, but her eyes carried the weight of centuries. "I chose to remain when my people fell to the chalice's power, to guard it from those who would misuse it." Lirelei's grip tightened on her bow. "I seek it to save my people. They suffer sleepless nights, haunted by visions of darkness." Gaze softened, but her voice remained firm. "The chalice was our masterpiece, meant to bring rest to a kingdom torn by war, but its power grew beyond our control. It does not grant sleep, it collects it, weaving dreams into an eternal tapestry. To sleep near it is to add your dreams to its collection, to join the peace of generations. But to wield it wrongly is to trap all in slumber, as it did my people. Lirelei glanced at the chalice, its mist swirling faster now, as if sensing her intent. How do I use it to save them? Sarethany moved to the pedestal, her fingers brushing the chalice's edge. Sleep near it, and your dreams will join the tapestry, strengthening its power to grant peace. But you must be pure of intent, free of fear or greed. The chalice senses the heart. If you seek to control it, it will consume you. Mind raced. The journal had warned of the chalice's danger, but Sarethany's words offered hope. Her people needed rest, not eternal sleep. She could sleep near the chalice, offer her dreams, and carry its power back to them. But the risk was clear: one misstep, and she could doom them all. Why do you guard it? Lirelei asked. Why not destroy it? Sarathine's smile was sad. We tried. The chalice is bound to the dreamscape itself. To destroy it would unravel the dreams of all who sleep, past and present. I remain to ensure it is used wisely, or not at all. Lirelei studied the keeper, searching for deceit, but found only sincerity. The cavern's pulse grew stronger, the crystals glowing brighter. The dreams in the pools shifted, showing new images: a child sleeping under a willow, a warrior resting after battle, a mother humming a lullaby. Lirelei felt a pull, not from the chalice, but from the cavern itself, urging her to trust. I'll do it, she said, her voice steady. I'll sleep near it. Sarethine nodded. Lie here, beside the pedestal. The chalice will take only what you offer. Lirelei hesitated, then set her bow and quiver against the cavern wall. She lay on the cool stone floor, the chalice's glow bathing her in silver light. The lullaby of the falls returned, softer now, blending with the cavern's pulse. She closed her eyes, and sleep came swiftly, deeper than any she'd known. In her dream, she stood in a field of starlit grass, the sky above a tapestry of constellations. Her sister was there, laughing, her face free of the fear that had haunted her in life. Lirelei ran to her, the grass soft under her feet, and they embraced, the world around them glowing with peace. The dream shifted, showing her village, its people sleeping soundly, their faces calm. The darkness that had plagued them was gone, replaced by a gentle night. She woke with a start. The chalice's glow brighter now, its mist swirling with new colors, her dreams. Sarethany stood over her, a faint smile on her lips. Your dreams have joined the tapestry. The chalice is stronger now, but you must carry it with care. Lirelei rose, her body light, her mind clear. She approached the pedestal and lifted the chalice, its weight surprisingly light, as if it were made of air. The mist inside settled, its glow steady. She tucked it into her satchel beside the journal and turned to Sarethany. Thank you, she said. I'll protect it, and I'll use it wisely. Sarethany's eyes gleamed. The dreamscape watchers, Lirelei, be true. Lirelei nodded, then retraced her steps through the cavern, the pools reflecting her own dreams, now among the others. The waterfall's lullaby greeted her as she passed through the vale, the starlight in the water brighter than before. The forest awaited, and beyond it, her people. The chalice was hers, its power hers to wield. But the weight of Sarathine's warning lingered. One misstep, and eternal sleep would claim them all. She set her sights on the horizon, the moon rising to guide her way, and began the journey home. Chapter 7. The Dream Communion. Lirelei stood in the glowing cavern, the chalice of eternal rest cradled in her hands, its moonstone surface warm against her skin. The luminous mist within swirled, alive with the dreams of centuries. The keeper watched her with eyes like starlit pools, her presence both guardian and guide. The cavern's crystal walls pulsed softly, their rhythm a heartbeat that echoed the chalice's power. Liralay's mission to save her sleepless people weighed heavily, but Serethany's warning about the chalice's dangers lingered. She needed to understand its true purpose before she could wield it. The chalice is not a tool to be used, Serethany said, her voice soft as the whispering falls outside. It is a bridge to the dreamscape. To know it, you must join the dream communion. Liralay's brow furrowed. Communion, a ritual, Serethany explained, gesturing to a bed of soft moss near the geode pedestal. Lie beside the chalice and let your dreams merge with its tapestry. You will see its purpose, feel its power, without falling into eternal slumber. Liralay hesitated, her fingers tightening round the chalice. The journal and Serethany's words had made one thing clear. The chalice's magic was potent, unpredictable, but her people's sleepless nights drove her forward. She needed to trust, to learn. She nodded, placing the chalice back on its pedestal. The mist inside pulsed brighter. As if acknowledging her decision, Serethany guided her to the moss bed, its surface cool and yielding. Clear your heart, the keeper said. The chalice senses intent. Fear or greed will twist its gifts. Lay down, her leather armor creaking softly. The cavern's hum enveloped her, blending with the distant lullaby of the falls. The chalice's glow bathed her in silver light, and her eyelids grew heavy. She focused on her people, their faces, haunted by endless waking, and let her intent to bring them peace anchor. Sleep came swiftly, deeper than any she'd known. Pulling her into the dreamscape, her dream began in a starlit meadow, the grass swaying under a sky of endless constellations. She wasn't alone. Figures moved around her, their forms shimmering, like the moon elves of old. A mother knelt, singing a lullaby to a child cradled in her arms, her voice weaving a melody that soothed the soul. The child's eyes closed, a smile spreading across their face. Liralay felt the dream's warmth, its peace, as if it were her own. The scene shifted, and she saw lovers seated beneath a willow, their hands entwined, whispering promises under a crescent moon. Their joy was quiet, unshakable, a moment of perfect rest. The dreams flowed like a gentle river, each one distinct yet part of a greater whole. An elder sat by a fire, his eyes distant as he recalled a childhood fishing by a tranquil stream. A warrior, battle-scarred but serene, slept under a sky painted with auroras. Each dream carried the weight of the Moon Elf Kingdom's hopes, their longing for peace in a time of war. Liralay felt the chalice's power, not as a force to be wielded, but as a tapestry woven from shared moments of rest. It was beautiful, overwhelming, a chorus of tranquility that spanned generations. But the river of dreams darkened. Liralay saw a great hall, its walls adorned with tapestries now frayed and faded. Moon elves gathered, their faces gaunt with desperation. War had ravaged their lands, stealing sleep from even the strongest. The chalice stood before them, glowing fiercely, its mist swirling with chaotic energy. A leader, crowned with silver, lifted it, his voice trembling with hope. "Let us drink," he said, "and find the rest we seek." Liralay's heart sank as she watched. They didn't sleep near the chalice, as Serethany had instructed. They drank from it, passing it from hand to hand, their eyes bright with fleeting relief, but the mist within surged, spilling over the chalice's rim. The elves swayed, their faces softening into unnatural calm. One by one, they sank to the floor, their breaths slowing, their eyes closing forever. The hall grew silent, the chalice's glow dimming as it consumed their dreams, trapping them in eternal slumber. The vision faded, and Lirelei stood alone in the meadow again, the chalice's warning clear. Its magic was not for consumption, but for connection, a shared communion of dreams. To misuse it was to lose everything. She felt a pull, a call to add her own dream to the tapestry. She closed her eyes within the dream, and a new scene formed her village. Bathed in moonlight, its people sleeping soundly. Her sister stood at the edge of a field, her smile free of fear. Lirelei joined her, their hands clasping, and they lay in the grass, watching stars wheel overhead. The peace was hers, but it belonged to the chalice too, a gift to its eternal collection. She woke on the moss bed, her breath steady, the chalice's glow brighter now. Wisps of her dream, her sister's smile, the starlit fields whirled within, its mist joining the tapestry. Seraphine knelt beside her, her expression unreadable. "You saw," she said. "The chalice's purpose is to share, not to take." Lirelei sat up, her mind clear. "It's a bridge, not a weapon. My people need its peace, but I won't let them drink from it." Sarathine's eyes softened. "You understand. Take the chalice, but guard your heart. Its power grows with each dream it holds." Lirelei rose, lifting the chalice from the pedestal. Its weight was familiar now, light yet heavy with responsibility. The cavern's crystals pulsed in time with her steps as she moved toward the exit, the pools reflecting her dream among the others. The whispering falls sang as she passed through the veil, the starlight in the water brighter, as if celebrating her choice. The forest stretched before her, the path to her village clear under the rising moon. She clutched the chalice, its mist a quiet lullaby of her own making, and began the journey home, ready to share its peace without losing her people to its power. Chapter 8. The return to gentle sleep. Lirel awoke on the moss bed, the chalice of eternal rest glowing softly on its geode pedestal. Her body felt light, her mind clear, as if she'd slept for days. The dream communion had woven her into its tapestry, and she understood now. The chalice's gift was not eternal slumber, but the perfect rest born of shared dreams. The cavern's crystals pulsed gently, their rhythm a lullaby, and the pools of water reflected her village, its people, sleeping peacefully under a starlit sky. Seraphine, the keeper, stood over her, her silver hair shimmering like moonlight. "You have seen the chalice's truth," Seraphine said, her voice soft as the whispering falls. "You are now a guardian of sleep, tasked with guiding others to the rest they seek." Lirelei rose, her leather armor creaking, the weight of her bow familiar but lighter somehow. "How do I help them?" she asked, glancing at the chalice, its mist swirling with her dream of her sister's smile. Seraphine reached into her robe and produced a small vial, no larger than a thimble, its glass etched with runes. A single drop of luminous dream essence glowed within, pulsing like a tiny star. "This is distilled from the chalice's tapestry," she said. "Place it near the pillows of those who cannot sleep. It will connect them to the dreams you've joined, granting gentle rest. Never drink it. It is for sharing, not consuming." Lirelei took the vial, its warmth spreading through her fingers. She tucked it into her satchel beside the chalice and the architect's journal, her heart steady with purpose. "I'll protect it," she said, "and I'll use it wisely." Seraphine's eyes gleamed. "The dreamscape trusts you, guardian. Go now, and bring peace to your people." Lirelei nodded, lifting the chalice from the pedestal. Its glow softened, as if acknowledging her role. She moved through the cavern, the pools reflecting her dream among countless others, mothers singing, lovers whispering, elders smiling. The whispering falls parted as she stepped through, their lullaby wrapping around her like a farewell. The forest beyond was bathed in moonlight, its trees swaying gently, their leaves whispering blessings of rest. Her journey back felt like moving through a dream. The forest path was familiar now, its shadows no longer menacing. Deer and foxes gathered at the edges, their eyes bright with quiet reverence, as if they sensed the chalice's power. The trees leaned closer, their whispers forming words. Sleep well, dream tender. Lirelei smiled, her steps light, the vial and chalice warm in her satchel. She passed the ruins where she'd first learned of the moon elves. Their crumbling stones now glowing faintly, as if infused with the dreamscape's light. The glade, once silent, hummed with the same melody as the tower of midnight winds, its flowers blooming brighter under the stars. The tower itself stood on its misty hill, its color-shifting stones reflecting the full moon's silver glow. Lirelei paused at its base, the spiral staircase's notes echoing in her memory. She didn't enter, her task lay beyond, but she felt the tower's approval. Its melody, a gentle nudge forward. The forest thinned as she neared her village, the air growing warmer, the scent of homewood smoke and baked bread welcoming her. The village was quiet, its people gathered in the square, their faces drawn with sleepless worry. Lirelei's heart ached for them, but the vial in her satchel pulsed, a promise of relief. She stepped into the square, the chalice hidden, but its presence felt a soft glow emanating from her satchel. "I've returned," she said, her voice steady, "and I bring rest." The villagers gathered closer, hope flickering in their eyes. Lirelei explained the chalice's power, the dream communion, and her role as guardian of sleep. She held up the vial, its dream essence catching the moonlight. "This will help you sleep," she said. "Place it by your pillow, and you'll share in the peace of countless dreams." That night, she moved from house to house, placing the vial near each pillow. Families watched, hesitant at first, then trusting as the vial's glow filled their homes with a soft, soothing light. Lirelei hummed the tower's melody, her voice blending with the dream essence, and one by one, the villagers drifted into sleep. Their faces softened, smiles forming as they joined the chalice's tapestry, mothers dreaming of lullabies, children of starlit fields, elders of simpler times. By dawn, the village was transformed. Laughter replaced weary sighs, and the air felt lighter, as if the darkness that had plagued them had lifted. Word spread, and soon neighboring villages sought Lirelei's aid. She became the dream tender, traveling with the vial, sharing its gift. Each night, she placed it near those who struggled, and each morning, she saw peace return to their eyes. On quiet nights, Lirelei sat by her window, the vial glowing softly on the sill. Its light connected her to the chalice, now safely hidden in a grove near the village, guarded by her vigilance. She felt the dreamscape's presence, a vast community of dreamers, moon elves, her people and countless others united in gentle rest. The stars above seemed brighter, their light a reminder of the tapestry she'd joined. She closed her eyes, humming the tower's melody, and slept, her dreams weaving into the eternal lullaby of the chalice of eternal rest.